Hi, all along my life I was told that you should collect as much customer data as possible. But with data privacy, it has changed. In this video, we'll talk about why you should collect minimum possible data and what are the guidelines and best practices along with it. Welcome to my YouTube channel and let's talk about data privacy and data minimization. When it comes to data privacy is my right to choose what personal information do I want to share, with whom do I want to share this information and why? What is the purpose of sharing this information? So suppose you want to perform some activity on my personal information and you come and ask me for it. It is my right to decide whether I want to share anything or not, and if yes, then what, to what extent, and do I also want to allow you to share this information or a part of this information with another third party, right? That is what is data privacy. That brings along rules and laws that if in any case I see that my data is being wrongly used or inappropriately shared with anyone else in the environment, then I can protect my interest with the help of laws, right? That is data privacy. Now in this video, we intend to talk about data minimization. Data privacy means you are collecting, processing, storing my data, right? Now what has been happening all around is that when we see a prospect, even a possible customer, we just take as much details as possible, right? Just creating our own customer database. But with data privacy coming in, it is a requirement to collect data as minimum as possible. And there could be several examples related to it. For example, if I'm opening a bank account, does the bank need to know details of my children? Only if they are a joint account or a minor account and I am a guardian. Otherwise, no. Then why should they collect that information, right? Same as if I apply for a credit card. They don't need to collect those information. So data minimization says that while you are defining the purpose of collecting the information, you should also collect as less information as required and no extra information to be collected. What are the guidelines? The guidelines are, as a standard for data privacy, you should clearly define your purpose, right? Why are you collecting information? And then collect only relevant information, nothing extra. Process only the amount of information that you need. For example, while you have collected my date of birth, but if you are not sending me a greeting, then you don't need to process my date of birth when you are creating my bank statement. May not be relevant. In fact, if I have to share my bank statement with a third party and I don't want to share my date of birth, then ideally my date of birth should not be there in my bank statement. And these are very small examples, and you can find thousands of places where your information that is collected is not even used or processed, but it is collected, right? And the international organizations like GDPR, CCPA, they have set the guidelines. Collect only what you need to. Restrict the access only to people who are processing the data, not to everyone. Just because it's an IT environment, no, that does not mean everyone need to have access on my personal information. And just make sure that accurate data is collected, right? You should validate data from time to time to make sure that it is accurate. Fine. Now then comes the data retention. Now, as far as data privacy is concerned, there are guidelines of the right to erasure also, which means if I want to withdraw services that I am using from your organization, I have the right to say, please erase my data. I don't want it to be with you. But even if I have not used that right, so like in the video about rights that user has under data privacy, we talked about right to erasure, we talked about right to object processing of data. So if I leave it to only objecting processing my personal information without asking you to erase, then also you have to store, but you should define a retention period. Your privacy policy should say that if I am not processing your data and you have not asked for erasure, I will still retain the data for a fixed period of time, not that the data would be with me forever. Same comes with secure deletion. I would not delete data, just delete as is. There are disk degaussing and other facilities that are available that should be used. Even when it comes to secure deletion of a set of records, there also you can have a single pass, a multi-pass, up to 7 pass deletions, which means delete, overwrite the disk or those blocks of disk with something else, then delete and again overwrite. And it is considered that if you do that for 7 times, your deletion is absolutely safe and secure. You should review your compliance practices and you should document every stage of collecting data, processing data and deletion of data with yourself. right? And privacy by design says you should collect minimum data. It should be a habit. It should be a part of your privacy system. It should be a part of your working system that you are collecting minimum possible data required for a particular purpose. Implementation best practices: you should regularly audit what have you collected. You should map your data with your usage patterns, and then you can identify which kind of data you don't use or don't process. You should establish a clear policy that emphasizes on minimization of data. You should train your employees on data minimization, and you should anonymize your data to protect individual privacy. You should convert it into a different format, and the next video is going to be about anonymization. So you should anonymize the personal data that you have collected to ensure that privacy is maintained even if a part of data is lost. So these are some of the best practices that you should adopt while handling data during processing of personal data. Last but not the least, role-based access should be given. Not everyone should have access to everyone's data in your systems. That's what I have to speak about data minimization. I hope you like my content. You can press like and bell icon and share your feedback in the comments box and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.